far as the Middle East is concerned, they've been fighting each other and killing each other for decades, centuries, not just decades, but centuries. And I just really don't see that we can solve that problem, right? Uh, we certainly can affect it, and we can certainly um, change the projection or the trajectory of those conflicts by being there. We certainly bring a lot of military might and troops on the ground and hardware and technology and all of that, right? But no matter how effective we are as a force in these skirmishes or wars, like just take the Korean conflict or Vietnam. My dad was he was a drill instructor. And he went to both of those conflicts. He never really talked about them because I think war is, from what I understand, ugly. It's having people shoot at you and try to kill you, and you having to kill other humans is it's probably very difficult. It's very it takes a toll on an individual, I would imagine. And so there's a human cost there on both sides. Us and the enemy. Or whoever the enemy might be. I watched Pearl Harbor recently again. The movie and with Ben Affleck, and there are no winners in war, right? There's there's a lot of human cost, and even if you survive it, even if you make it out alive, physically, there's PTSD, there's psychological and emotional traumas that happen to people. You can't come out of those sort of situations as a person and not expect to be affected in some way by it, right? Uh,
You're going to be changed.
oh yeah, yeah. I never went to war, so the closest I ever got to war was being in law enforcement, maybe. And civilian law enforcement is what is it? It's like 99% boredom and 1% of sheer terror, right?
Well,
And
I would give yourself a lot more credit because I look at law enforcement as you're, in a sense, if you have that weapon issued to you, in a sense, you're on duty almost all the time. I mean, the responsibility that goes along with that is an important part of it. Um, of course, I can't speak for what your father's experiences are. You'd have to try to figure out what units he was in and that type of thing. But for the majority of service people, like you said, 99% of the time you're bored, and 1% you're terrified. Depending on your job and what it is that you're doing, you may not hear a shot fired in anger ever. I was in the Army Reserve for 17 years. And then my Super Bowl happened, and I was on active duty in essence for 8 years, and then I ended my career in the reserves. But I was I didn't want to be that infantry officer. That they branched me infantry, and I saw the light and became an engineer. So I was not going to compete with other men as far as being tough is concerned and humping it on my back or jumping out of perfectly good airplanes. And I was able to serve in a different capacity, building things, essentially, contract administration. And so I think one of the perceptions is that people who haven't had the experience is that my little Johnny, my little Janie is out there, pulling triggers, kicking in doors. There's an infantryman like calling it running and gunning. And so most people don't do that. I mean, we're built around the infantry in an important sense, but most of the experiences of service people is not these harrowing experiences that obviously could really mess you up, and well, they would be traumatic. But another important thing to remember, though, James, is that a lot of people come into the service and they've already had traumatic experiences before. You know, maybe it's the military that helps straighten them out, but it's their own childhood that really is where the bad stuff happened.